I got some daylight, and I might as well go ahead and pressure wash the wheel loader forklift. All right, well, I came out here today and shuffled some stuff around with this loader last night. We got a flat tire, so let's put the little compressor on it and see if it'll take air. We'll go from there. There's like an oil here. Wonder where that's coming from. It's leaking right at the valve stem. That's actually a good thing, because I'd rather replace the tube than the tire. So this is the first time I've had any of the wheels on this forklift off ever, and look at all that slop. Slop in the steering cylinders, slop in that knuckle there. Slop in that ball. Oh no, that's inside here. That's a bearing. Yeah, this old dog needs a lot. See if we can get this tire off the bead here. I believe there is a tube in this tire, because it's leaking literally right there, and that's not a real valve core. It looks like it's the valve core for the rubber tire in there. So I got a new inner tube that we're going to put back into it. And the way that these work, this is essentially a split rim with a locking ring. So right here, this little locking ring is wedged down in there, and then this whole ring comes off after you get the wedge out. It'll basically lift off, and then the tire can just slide up and get off of the actual rim itself. And then we'll be able to put the new tube in there, plop it all back together. The dangerous part is when we put the rim back together and we air it up, these locking rings have been known to kill people. So we don't want to end up dead, so we're going to try and avoid that. But this is what we're going to use to break the bead. This is a on-the-rim tire bead breaker. It is hydraulically actuated, so you hook up a hydraulic line here, and what happens is this hooks into the bead, and this clamps on the rim, and it literally presses in on that bead and pops it off. Now, I've got 3 ways to actuate that. We've got the classic hand pump, which is just like pretty much go anywhere kind of style. This is a air over hydraulic unit, and this is an electric over hydraulic unit. So with this one, you hook up an air line to it. You hook up this line. This line can be, this hose here can be used with any of the three of these. This then gets hooked over to that. And then what you do is you basically push down here with your foot, and then it will put pressure to the clamp and it'll clamp. And then the same thing with this one, except for you plug it in and it has a electric motor on it. You hook up the line to there, and you've got this just a little switch here that you can just like that. And this particular one has it set up so that you can make it so that if it's on this switch, it will clamp, but then the second you let off of the switch, it'll hold on for a second and then it'll let go on its own. If you put it on this side, it will clamp and just hold. And it will hold literally until you manually move that back over to that side. So I'm going to show you the air over hydraulic one. Maybe we'll bust that electric one out, but I've got air literally right above here. So these two are a little bit more like you have to have either air or a plug-in to use them. If you're on the field or you got to go out somewhere, there is nothing wrong with one of these hand-powered ones. They're slower. You have to actually hand operate it, but it is mobile and you could take it anywhere. This particular one is branded Cat, but it was made by Enerpac, just like this one here. Awesome brand. They make great stuff, but we're gonna give the Turbo 2 a shot. Let's see if we can get this bead broken, get that locking ring out, and we'll pull the rim, try and get a new tube in there. All right, so what you do, connect the line, hydraulic hose, to the bead breaker. So these units, they don't just run like this. It can run anything a porta power or a porta press can run. I've got other cylinders, I've got different bars for pulling, lots of things you can get for these porta powers. And then the other side of it goes right into this side. I've got this hooked up to air. So if you watch right here, you'll watch that clamp. So I push here. And that's your bead breaking. So it'll hold until I push back on the back of it. And then it releases. Just like that. I think we need to tighten these fittings. They're leaking a little bit. So then what you do is you work your way around it. Just pull here. There's our locking ring right here. Set that aside. There we go. There's our inner ring, or I guess outer ring. Now we should be able to flip it over and the tire will drop out. Definitely an inner tube in here. Ooh. Well, that hammer handle broke on me. Interesting. There's like an inner piece. Okay, so it's like half of a inner tube, and then the inner tube goes through that. Let's get this rim out of the way all the way. Okay. Come on. Oh, got it. Hello? 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 I had to. All right, let's see if we can air this up and find the leak in the tube. Come on. I hear it. There it is, right there. It's a hole. Because it went down fast, so that actually makes sense, because that's a pretty good size hole. I'm going to wipe this tube down and see if we find any other issues. All right, I got that side cleaned. Yeah. All right, I got everything cleaned up and ready. The old inner tube only had that one hole. And really, I was kind of debating on using it, patching it and using it. Right at this moment, I need this machine, and so I bought the tube already. I think we will patch that tube because that machine has 3 other questionable tires that I have no idea on, never taken apart, never had any issues with. So having a tube, even a patched one, on hand would be really nice in case we have something go wrong, and it always goes wrong at the wrong time. So let's go ahead and put the new tube in this, and basically it's putting it back together in the reverse order. So let's start with this. This is basically a little protector ring, kind of keeps the rim and any kind of rough like metal particles from getting to the inside of the tube that's not touching the tire. Let's do that. Let's start getting a little air in there and get it to hold its shape. All right, I got the tube in there, slightly inflated so it's holding its space. I think we're gonna put this in now. Well, we got it in. I think what we're gonna do is kind of hold this kind of like this and try and snake the valve core, the valve stem, into that hole as the rim is coming in. I want it facing this way because then the tread is facing the right way, and we'll bring it so the lug nuts are on my side and not yours. I'm gonna spray this down with a bunch of soapy water. I want you to slowly lift this and just hold it like that, and I'm going to try and feed that valve core in that hole, and it's going to hook back my way. Make sense?
Yep.
Hang on. Lift it up, go back. It's not hooking my way.
Alright. So.
Alright, go ahead. Push it in a little bit. Hold up. Hang on. Back out. Pull it back out.
Which side are we gonna flip?
We might be able to get it in. Yep, do that. Yep. Okay. There. All right, now let's lay it down toward you. Why don't we get a couple blocks? We'll lift it up. Rim. Okay. There we go. Now we'll get this ring in. Finally, the locking ring. And this is the piece that can kill you. So you want to make sure it's all the way in. And you also want to stay out of the way when you're airing it up, and I'll show you how we're going to protect ourselves here in a minute. Okay. So I can absolutely see why this could pop out when you're using it, because some of these rings, if you don't quite get them in there right and you're airing it up, it can fly out at you. Okay, so to keep ourselves safe, we're going to take some chain, wrap it around. You don't want it crazy tight because it has to inflate, but you just want it to catch that ring in case you have an issue. There, so we got 2 on each side. That should do it. What does it call for?
Something on that back.
I'll bet it said just don't overinflate it. 45. Just try 30 for now. Going up. Yeah. Yeah, it's seating the bead on the bottom too. Why don't you pull air pressure for a 14-20? All right, I got 25 pounds of pressure in it. We're gonna flip it up, make sure the other side's seated well. Yep, that bead looks good. And that ring is nicely seated all the way around. All right, so we're gonna give it one more little hammer job to make sure it's seated. Perfect. It didn't move at all. So that lock ring is in there nice. Both beads are perfectly seated. We got a brand new tube installed. Tire pressure on these big tires. I put 25 pounds in it. I went out there and checked the other tires. 2 of them are 25, the other one's 20. What do you guys run in a tire this size? I mean, it doesn't say on here anywhere, and I mean, this is such an old machine. I probably will run, I might even drop them all of them down to 20. I think a little bit less tire pressure would be better just for the muddy type places that I go. But I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are on that. So let's get these chains off. We'll roll it out of here. It's getting a little late tonight, so I think we'll put it back on the tractor tomorrow, and then we'll be able to use it. I'm missing one lug nut on this wheel and another one on the front, other side of the front. I need to find a couple more. All right, so we're gonna fill up, or at least check, all the tires. Last night when I was filling up, I wanted to use this style connector, air tire filler thinger, and it is supposed to grab onto the valve stem and hold it, but the tab that actually slides in is broken and that's missing. So from the other shop, I grabbed my other one and brought it down here. It should have this tab right here. So see that thing that's going in and out of the circle? That's what grabs your valve stem and essentially holds it while you press the trigger. So this style is just like you just push. You have to put pressure on it to be able to give it air, and that's a very common style. So the plan, all the other tires other than this one have a 90-degree valve stem that comes out, so I can use a normal one. This one here, I'm gonna have to use this style to be able to even put air in it or to check the air. So might as well just see what they've got, put a little air in it, and then at least we'll know we're good to go for now. Looks like we've got, according to this gauge, right at about 30. PSI. Maybe 32. Let's see what this has. That one's probably got 24. Yep, I'd say 24. That one has about 24. And this is the one we put the new tube in. And that one has right at about 30. So I've heard people say your front tires on a loader should be a higher PSI than the rears. Then again, this is an all-wheel drive. The two rears right at 24, I think that's fine. We'll leave it. So we'll just let some air out of the other two. Almost there. All right, that's right at 25. We're gonna go with that. So this machine needs a ton of work, and we will absolutely be getting to the majority of that at some point. But right now, I wanna do one more quick thing, and that is, you see that hole there? And then there's one here. Same on the other side. These are the bolt holes that are supposed to hold the ROPS. And there are no bolt holes in it. So if it was to ever roll over, that whole canopy could come off. So we're gonna go see if I find some bolts in my stash and at least get some bolts in the holes. All right, we're gonna jump into the hardware store here. Somewhere in these drawers here, we've got some bigger bolts. Not sure if we're gonna need thicker than that. We're definitely gonna need longer than that. That one might work. Do I have 4? I do. There's one with a nut on it. There's another nut. Okay, see if we can find 2 more nuts, and I'm on the fence as to whether or not that's going to be long enough. See, those are all shorter. I think as we come up any further, we're getting smaller. Let's see if we can find a nut for that. That will work. Do I have another? Mother, may I have another? Actually, one down there. Nope. All right, I'm gonna dig around, see if I can find another one. Actually, maybe right here. Is this too big? Yeah, that's too big. But I think we're in the right spot. That looks about right. There we go. Yep, let's go with that. We'll see if these are long enough. If they are, we'll put them in. If not, we'll find something else. All right, let's see. Kind of looks like it's going to be the right size, or at least length. Yeah, that's like the perfect length. It's not the perfect size bolt. It's a little too small. But right at this moment, I just don't care. I think that I'd rather have any bolt in there. These are grade 8 bolts, so not too worried about shear strength. So I only have 2 of these flange nuts, so we'll use them in the front, but I want to show you something real quick. So this is a normal nut. It's perfectly round. It will thread all the way onto the bolt. No problems. This, I don't know if they call it a lock nut. I think they do. It's just it doesn't have the nylon or the plastic ring. They egg shape it slightly so that it'll thread on up until the part where it's egg shaped, and then you have to either ratchet or impact it on. What I mean by thread on, it'll thread on by hand. And so that little offset, that little out of round, makes it so that once the nut is on, it retains itself to that bolt. They're usually a flange nut in regards to that style, at least from my experience. I'm sure there's a million ways to make this stuff, but they typically work very well. So we're going to use those, like I said, on the front, the other style on the back. These two washers we're going to use on the back where the regular nut goes. There we go. Back here. We're going to use the International Service truck with the massive winch in the bed. And as you can see, we've got our massive beastly wheel chocks. And that winch right there, that winch has 2,000 feet of cable. And we just barely uncovered part of a section of it. And as you can see, we've got this, got our drop-in pulley there. A friend of mine got himself in a little bit of a predicament. He's the friend. Here's the predicament. If we come down here, that suspension is all flexed out. And the trailer there. So our plan, I think, what we're gonna do is we've got a snatch block set up on that tree there to a strap that's gonna go right here to where the ball is. And we're gonna try and just pull both of them up there to straighten it out. Once it's straight, we should be able to just back this out. So, and right way up there, that's where the International Service truck is. So having that long cable really does come in handy in this situation, because I did not want to drive it down here. We didn't want to get it stuck too. So yeah, I think we should be able to get it. And as you can see, here's our snatch block on the tree. Got it hooked to that strap on the hitch. That truck is a beast. I love that truck. And just yank that thing over. That's probably 5 feet, 6 feet. We're more in a line. And the plan is still going to be to try and hook the winch to that tree and pull on the back of the trailer and try and pull everything back that way. We'll back the ATV out of the way. The problem is this thing has four-wheel drive, except for there's its front drive shaft. So it does not have four-wheel drive currently. That's gonna hit the truck past that tree, but then the trailer is gonna nail that tree. Go grab the skid steer. So basically we're gonna try and push this that way so that we can clear that tree and drive up. And we still may need the the service truck to pull this up the drive.
Oh, Portsmouth. You find bush? You want to pull? Truck's still hooked up. I think pull would be safer.
That might be better on the trailer.
Yeah, I was gonna say not bang something up. Yep. So right there, you see that little dirt slide? That's where the truck was sitting. There's a good like 8 or 9 feet drop there. That is an area, it's probably about 4, 5, 6 feet. But yeah, it was a heck of a spot to get stuck in. Yeah, turned out great. No damage. This is a shipping container bridge. All right, there we go. Skid steer, smoothing that out, getting it up there. And here's our spot that we got stuck. Right there. So the plan is to fill this in, but it's a natural spot where water wants to run, so it's always eroding that. But he was planning to take that trailer that way, turn around, dump it on another spot, and drive back. And he got sucked in here. And this isn't mud, it's pretty solid dirt, but you get it on an incline like that, and you can definitely have some issues. But turned out great. Truck didn't get damaged, trailer's not damaged. Do a little grading on this spot later. Looking great. Jump in the old Pioneer and head up. Taxi service! What a great old truck.